everybody. Chris McConnell with you, McFile Thursday night. We're grateful to have you. We are always grateful to have this old guy with us, and he hasn't been with us this week yet, so we had to get him on tonight. Our week would not be complete without the one and only James Akers. How are you, buddy? It's good to see you as always tonight.
Chris, good to be with you and your listeners tonight. Always an honor for me.
Oh, honor's always ours, buddy. We get such a good review. People love you, and you've just become a regular. I was kidding with him before the show and said he's going to get a door prize for becoming one of the regulars. He said he just wanted a hot dog from the ballpark, and I'm all for that. Let's have two. How about we'll give you two instead of one, man? Them Reds are playing good baseball right now, and I'm proud of them. And used to live in Cincinnati or Dayton area, and so they're my 1A team. They're not even my number 2 team. I root for the Reds if the Braves ain't doing great, and vice versa. Hey, wanted to get you on tonight. Hadn't talked this week, and but I think the Lord timed this out just right tonight because we got this huge meeting. James, tomorrow between President Trump and Vladimir Putin in Alaska. You have served in our government for many years, and this is right up your alley, an analysis of these overseas situations. And I'm just curious, do you hold out any hope tonight that there's going to be any progress made? Do you think that there's going to be fruit from this? Or do you think it's Trump's final attempt before he himself steps in and just starts slamming both Russia and Ukraine with sanctions and says, y'all either quit this or we're going to bankrupt you both?
Well, I thought I saw something today, a news article that I thought captured it completely. Is Trump setting a trap for Putin, or is Putin setting a trap for Trump? And I think that just about describes it. I've been looking at the news feeds and this, that, and the other, and nobody seems to know what's going to happen with this thing. There's all sorts of rumors about Trump dangling, these strategic mineral opportunities off the coast of Alaska. If you read another news article, they'll say, can Putin be arrested when he lands in Alaska? And the same aircraft that protect against Russians intruding our airspace are going to provide an escort for Putin's aircraft to come into Alaska. Buddy, I'm telling you, nobody seems to have a feel for what's going to happen. On the Trump side, he's sort of on a roll in terms of these sorts of intervention in a couple conflicts around the globe where he has taken center stage. Of course, the mainstream media is not going to give him any credit for it. And if he would pull off forcing some sort of cessation of hostilities in the Ukraine, I mean, it's going to be an undeniable feather in his cap. But it's a tough task. Neither the Ukrainian president nor Putin really have any incentive to come to the bargaining table, much less make concessions. And so Trump's in a difficult situation.
Yeah, I think he is, and I'm with you on that. And I have no feel on this tomorrow. I don't. I've been trying to get a feel. The media. What's sad to me, James, is that there's a lot of people in the media tonight, a lot of people on the left that's actually rooting against Trump. They're hoping that this falls in his face and it blows up in his face, and they're willing to let millions of people keep dying just for the sake of political points. And it's just so disgustingly sick. And, that bothers me a lot. And, Trump didn't start this war. Trump was not in power when this war started. This was Joel and Joe Biden. Trump was in the White House today talking about the Social Security issue, and a lot of the questions that came up was about this meeting tomorrow. And he he flat out didn't back down. He said, look, he said, if I'd have been president back in 22, this would have never happened. He said, I would have, he said, I'd have made sure that he said, Vladimir knew he was not going to do stuff like this with me in power, but he's done it, and Trump's got to clean the mess up. And, we just got to hope. I just look at the loss of life as being unnecessary. But when you've got people in this country that care nothing for life and they care nothing about that, then everything becomes politics, and it makes for an ugly, toxic mess of you know what in D.C.
Oh yeah. And the real key to is that Trump has very little leverage on either of the major parties to this conflict.
Yes, he does. That's true.
Right now, the European leaders are gathering and sort of patting, the Ukrainian leader on the back, and we keep hearing this idea of sanctions. Sanctions historically have never worked against an authoritarian regime. They never worked. They very rarely move the needle in the direction you want them to in terms of diplomacy. And so, even the threat to slap more sanctions on Putin's regime really just sort of echoes just shallow with the Russians. And so I'm looking for the place where Trump, he loves the art of the deal, but the art of the deal, whether it be in politics or diplomacy, sets with an ability to exercise leverage. And I just don't see where he has leverage to move either party here, because neither one of them want to give an inch. And so, this trial balloon of offering Putin, territory in the eastern part of Ukraine has been roundly rejected by the Ukrainians, and so it's he has a tough task ahead of him. I'm just not sure he has a stick big enough to whack Putin over the head to force him to peace talks in any way, shape, or form.
Fair enough. I do want to ask you this. All right, if he can't get Putin to the table tomorrow to meet with Zelensky, because that's what I understood today, that this meeting tomorrow is just Trump and Putin, and if he sees that there's an opening, he's going to bring Zelensky into this later down the road, maybe within a few weeks. But let's just say this all fails tomorrow. Where do we go from here, buddy? I mean, where does Trump go from here? What can the United States do to stop this? Or is there any hope for there to be any stopping unless we just depend on the goodwill of Vladimir Putin, which that's a joke, or we depend on the goodwill of Zelensky? Because, James, you sort of said it a while ago, both these parties are not fair negotiators. And again, I just cannot stress the amount. We're talking millions of people, man, on both sides have died. James, that's a genocide. The Rwanda situation back in 1994, I remember that vividly. I was in Burundi and Uganda just a few months after all that happened. And, the world was shocked that a nation would turn on itself, civil war, have 1.5 million people die in a month. You've had this war going on for 3 years. You got 1.5 million, 1.5, 1.6 on each side of this conflict. And it's just like the world has been numb to it. It's gotten numb to it. And it's disturbing to me.
Yeah, because the saber rattling now has just an old, familiar sound to it, and nobody's paying attention. And so Medvedev comes out, the former Russian president, who makes these sort of outlandish statements all the time in the Russian press about the need for Russia to finish the task in the Ukraine, and so Trump responds by sending a couple nuclear submarines, made it loud and clear that he was going to send them, to the theater. And, it all comes back to leverage. And the one piece of leverage that Trump has at his disposal, and that is, all right, Vladimir, if you're not going to negotiate in good faith, we are going to come in full bore on the side of the Ukrainians. That is a distasteful option for him and several of the people that backed him in the election. And so it is a tough situation.
Why do you think Putin called the meeting?
To give the appearance that he's on the side of making these sort of gestures to move the peace process forward. In other words, it's all just superficial. He's giving nothing, has nothing to lose. He shows up at the meeting. Maybe he figures he can wrangle a few additional concessions out of Trump. He probably thinks that Trump is desperate because of political optics to have some sort of positive news come out of this Alaska meeting. And so that's why I think Putin, who has played, traditionally has played American presidents from a losing hand, continues to play them continually.
Well, I'm with you, and I think that's a good analysis of this. And I guess what you have to wait and see, buddy. As says, I think you just summed it up as good as anybody tonight. I don't think anybody's got a read on what's about to happen tomorrow. But I will say this: there are 7 conflicts tonight, and whether the left-wing media, and we're going to play a video later of the CNN I hate to use the word I was about to use. Let's just say the slow-to-learn CNN panelists, they're not going to give Trump credit for anything. So even if Trump brings back a peace treaty tomorrow, they're going to find something wrong with it. But you can't argue the fact, James, that Trump has at least tried to bring peace to this earth. And I deeply appreciate him for that. Look, I deeply admire him for trying. And the Israel-Iran situation, as Bekerjan in Armenia, Congo, and the other African nation beside it. You've had, nations in this White House, Cambodia and Thailand, that have been at war for decades. And because of President Trump's leadership, he's at least got them to talk, and in some cases sign treaties, 7 of them. And brother, you got to admit, at least he's trying to bring peace, and he's trying to solve this. If the Russians and the Ukrainians would just meet him halfway, you agree with that?
Yes. Well, and let's turn it on its head. Let's suppose that he comes out of Alaska with some sort of agreement whereby Putin agrees to have face-to-face talks with Zelensky. The way the mainstream left media is going to play it is that Trump is using all of this as a diversionary tactic to keep him from facing the music on the Epstein situation. They are going to find a way to make a positive a negative because they hate Trump so much.
Oh, I don't doubt that. But, I'm just going to be honest with you. And I know there's some people out here that are going to like hearing me say this. I just think the Epstein train has left the station. There was a poll out just this week that, do you realize interest in the Epstein files has dropped 90% in the last month? That you start talking to people out here in America, they don't even care about that anymore. I think this Russiagate, look, I think the real ruse that people are wanting to know about is this Russiagate. And now we're finding out when Trump basically, I tell you what has happened, James, he's got the left's attention, including Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom. And he's not playing around with this crime situation. Look, this takeover of D.C. by the National Guard, I know it's not the best case for our country, but you know, if the mayor was doing her job and taking care of crime and the police were not being hand-strapped by these bureaucrats, he wouldn't have to do it. He's got to do it. And he basically sort of sent a signal today that this is coming to a town near you. If these governors and mayors don't stop or don't start reining in this lawlessness, he's going to fix it, because he's not going to keep seeing American citizens slaughtered in the streets. And that, too, has been a joke, is how the left has handled that. It's almost like they're in la-la land saying, well, our cities are safe. Washington, D.C. safe. You got Chuck Schumer out there saying, I feel safe. And then he don't bother to tell you that he's got a bodyguard, basically group of 6.
Yeah. In terms of we have got, and Trump's just sort of feeling out the steps for doing that. We have got to regain control of the streets of this city.
Yes, we do.
Somebody has to come up with an answer to lawlessness. And it's not, I think I heard somebody on the 5, what is the guy that was a former wrestler that's on the 5?
Tyrus. Yeah, he's a good guy.
He was talking about here's a black, he was talking about the violence in the streets of Washington, and he said, traditionally in this society, we are blaming the absence of black men that don't stay in marriages as a reason for all this teenage crime. But he says, the mothers are responsible too. They're currying favor with these teenagers rather than holding them accountable for their actions. And he's exactly right. We have to get back to where there is some measure of accountability. I mean, I saw on TV the other day, I'm sure you saw it too, a filmed sequence of right outside the Lakers stadium, absolute street mayhem with them doing donuts in the street and everybody cheering them on, and a crowd that was 15 or 20 deep, and it was just total lawlessness to the point that even in Los Angeles, one of the prosecutors say we cannot put up with this anymore. It is at a tipping point. Either we get control of this spirit of lawlessness that's sweeping this country, and it's not only an American problem, it's all over the world. If we don't get an edge on this lawlessness, then it's going to swallow us up. And I think Trump's efforts in Washington to put the National Guard on the streets and calm things down in Washington is exactly the right thing to do.
I'll agree with that. My only concern, and this is just me, and maybe I'm overreaching here a little bit in my concern. James, I've always been one to feel, and maybe I'm wrong in this, and maybe you can help me. I've always felt like that and again, I think that he's got no choice to do what he's doing. I'm with you. I think it's the right thing to do. There's a troubling part to this, that when you start dealing with National Guards and military and the Department of Defense to rein in a domestic crime situation, because you see, at some point, it may not be Trump running that show. It may be a left-wing loon bomb president. And if they're going to do it now, we've set a precedent now that a left-wing president could come in and they could just wake up one night and say, these Christians are just a threat. And I want you to go out there and just as they rounded up the illegals, I want you to go round up the Christians. And I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but I hope you're seeing my point that it's always best to handle the situation domestically with each police force than to bring the military and National Guard in. Because once you do that, you've opened a Pandora's box. And we don't want to see the military running our streets. I don't care what party's involved, because, brother, that's communism. That's how the communists took over, their countries through the years. They ultimately used the military to bring in their ideology.
No, I'm not. I agree with you on that point. There has to be a balance. There has to be some wisdom, and this country is woefully short of that. To navigate the middle road between, I remember talking to sort of reinforce your point. I remember talking to an Israeli diplomat several years ago, told me that armies are of two types. One is to fight foreign enemies, or armies can be used against their own people.
Exactly.
And in authoritarian regimes, there is much more of a tendency to use an army against their own people. The problem is, in this country, that the law enforcement and the judicial system has been so hollowed out and so absolutely devoid of common sense that extreme measures are going to be called for. Does it open a dangerous precedent? Absolutely. Are National Guard troops trained to fire on their own citizens? No. That is not what they signed up for. And that's always a tough situation. And also the question becomes now, if he uses constitutional authorities, which he has, which are unique in the District of Columbia, let's say this is a successful use of National Guard troops to put down the violence. Can that model be exported to other cities in the country?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that this isn't a unique situation where he has constitutional authority citing violence to federal property in Washington, D.C., which the Congress really has the ultimate jurisdiction over. We've sort of ceded it over the years to some of these political elected officials in Washington, much to our regret, I think.
I totally agree.
And so it is a danger, but in this world that we're going into, Chris, it is going to be increasingly difficult.
Come on, buddy.
To navigate that middle road of common sense, which requires wisdom.
So true.
In terms of not going too far and getting your wheel in a ditch on one side of the road, or it is just as bad on the other side of the road, getting your ditch. If you miss the road of decency, common sense, and democratic values, it doesn't matter which side which ditch your wheel falls in, you are off the road. And finding the road in this situation, and in the future we're going to have many others of just this type, because we are split right down the middle as a country. And so there are going to be all of these matters that come up, and there are very few politicians that have the wisdom to deal with these situations. Would you agree with that?
Totally agree. And I was about to just add to what you just said, buddy, that the violence, and I do believe our streets, and Trump's doing his best to quelch it, but I think that the threat of violence is going to increase. I don't think it's going to decrease. And I know that he's doing everything he can to make it safer out there. But, buddy, we're in the end times. There was a gentleman that he is a Bible teacher, and he's in Israel, and he posted something today, and he made a good point. He said, we're not just in the end times, but we're in evil times. And, when Paul said that this, you also in the last days, perilous times will come. Well, that word perilous means dangerous. And James, I think that your point is so well taken in the fact that I think more and more the governments of this world, and the governments, especially here in America, I don't think they're going to be left with much choice, because I just sense that the spirit of lawlessness is going to get more and more pronounced until Jesus comes. And I think that we're already seeing that. And, I just think that it depends on who the president is in our nation, whether they're going to address it or not. And I have to tell you, I think this has been one of the most aggressive approaches to national lawlessness from the White House I've ever seen. I don't even remember Reagan doing this. Reagan's big thing was just don't do it, or what was that big drug plan that him and Nancy came up with? Just do it. Just say no to drugs. Just say no to drugs. Well, that didn't work too good. Because there's a lot of people ain't saying no to anything. They're basically destroying cities and killing, raping, maiming, murdering, fentanyl. I mean, when you get fentanyl stashes by the FBI in the last month that would have killed 115 million Americans, brother, that tells me right now we had some bad hombres on these streets, and I don't think we're anywhere close to getting them all off.
No, and we have, in our worldly eyes, we have become so smart that we no longer, if you listen to all these talking heads and this, that, and the other, and I'm talking about on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
We are no longer able to call evil.
That's so good.
We come up with all
right.
of these, and the basic problem is your starting point. Are human beings good by nature, and all of this stuff is just sort of an aberration? Or if left to their own devices, will human beings act in a violent, illegal way?
I tend to believe the second. I believe the second.
I believe the second. And that's the whole reason that God sent his son to this earth, was that
so true.
Was to counter evil.
It's so true.
And the further we get away from the cross of Jesus Christ, the more evil things become. I'm talking about chronologically, and I'm talking about a culture. And we are seeing that it's out of the epistles of Paul and out of Timothy that in the end days there's just going to be a climate of lawlessness, that people don't have a moral guide anymore. There's no moral polar star in our country that we can point to. And that's the difference between the post-World War II era, even up to Reagan, I would argue, is that there was still that sense of a moral compass in this country. And we have we've just lost that.
We have, buddy.
We have lost that.
Well, speaking of moral compass, I want to ask you a question. If you've heard it about your city of Cincinnati or that area up there, that the mayor of all people came out this week and said that she's being pressured to charge the two white people, the victims, for hate crimes in the beating they took 2 weekends ago. Have you heard that?
And I know my good friend Terry Wyans is listening, so I'll give credit to Terry Wyans on this. There's a very conservative announcer in Cincinnati that said, "Did you hear about the new lawsuit that's being filed relating to the beatings in Cincinnati?" And it is being filed against one of the whites that was beaten down to an inch of his life in the streets and kicked by the others. And the lawsuit is brought by one of the brothers because he hurt his foot when he kicked him in the head.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me.
No, it's a joke.
Okay.
It is purely a
Thank
joke.
you. I was about to go in my toilet and throw up. Okay. You saved me from vomiting on my own show tonight. You got me, Akers. You got me on the joke. You got me on the joke. That deserves, let me hang on just a second. That deserves my elementary, my dear Watson. Elementary, my dear Watson. That's crazy. But you know something? I wouldn't doubt that thought hadn't crossed somebody's mind, Akers. That's how messed up this country is it not? Lord have mercy.
The fact that even has any credence to it whatsoever says everything about the situation.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. I'll agree with it. Now, you had me going for just a second there. I was about to get on my soapbox. And all of Cincinnati was got to know the name of Chris McDonald tonight. I would have been a hit driving through there. They'd have been throwing eggs at the Batmobile going through there. Speaking of which, did you hear CNN called Trump Batman today? And they said that Washington, D.C. is his Gotham City. They acted like that's a bad thing, buddy. I actually believe that's a good thing. What say you, man?
Yeah, the Cape Crusaders. Yeah, bring it on. Yeah, he's they're just running. They're running out of fodder.
They are.
They're just running out of points. If he comes back from Alaska with anything that even remotely smells
a victory,
man, they are toast, because he has, and he's on the verge of a major, rumor has it, a major deal in the Middle East.
I've heard that too.
Two long-term enemies, and if these sorts of things are arranged, they are going to have to go deep in the closet to come up with some mud to throw on his parade. The guy has done what he said he was going to do. Did you see the arrest today that ICE made at Newsom's press conference, and Bass lost her lunch? Speaking of losing her lunch, she lost her lunch. I just love it when these liberals melt down, man. It's popcorn worthy to me. It really is. I know that I shouldn't take such glee in it, but I just absolutely think it's marvelous. It's absolutely marvelous. I need to get me a sound bite for that.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
It's elementary, my dear Watson, to see a liberal meltdown, is it not?
Well, the worm is slowly turning. The question is that we have talked for a long, long time. Are these advances towards what I consider to be common sense, law enforcement, control of the streets, control of the border, all of those things, are they going to be lasting beyond Trump? That, to me, is a huge, huge question, because the question you posed earlier in this broadcast, the same measures that are now being used to control the streets in the future, you don't need a crystal ball to see that they're going to be used against Christians. And so if there is a regime that comes in power that is completely on the opposite side of the mirror.
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. I tell you, and that's sort of a scary thought. A couple of more quick things, and I'll let you go tonight. It's so good to have you. Did you see the press conference today where Trump saw that we've raised a couple of economic stories? The Social Security rolls got cleared out today. You realize there was nearly $125 million a year going out to recipients that are over age 120, and nobody caught it till this recent audit of Social Security. No wonder we've been going bankrupt. Akers, are you 120 years old? Is that something you need to tell me about? And I didn't know if you were getting, I didn't know if you were part of that or not. I got to rag you a little bit. There are rumors Chris is 120 years old. I am not 120. I'm half of that, but not quite 120 yet. But isn't that amazing that we had that much money going out to people that were likely dead?
It is amazing. It is amazing. And that, now the press is cracking down on Doge and say, that they promised to deliver trillions of dollars in waste or multiple billions of dollars in waste, and they've fallen short of that figure. But let me tell you something. What they did to automate these antiquated computer systems in the federal government by itself,
yes,
is a major accomplishment. I remember several years ago going over to the Pentagon, and I was absolutely astounded when I looked into the offices of the Pentagon that they were operating on computers which were much, much older than the computer I had at home.
That's pretty bad. That's bad.
And I mean that typifies sort of the technology level in various parts of the government, and that needed to be corrected. You can't have efficiency when you're still dealing with paper slips that are in a cave somewhere out west, to keep all the Social Security records. It is just absurd.
It is absurd.
The situation that they found, and the fact that they could do anything to move the needle toward saving the American taxpayers money. What a novel idea.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this, that Scott Bessent, who is likely going to be, he's the new head of the IRS, but I have heard rumors he may be your next federal Fed chair too. But he came out today and said that you realize that we have gained $27.4 billion in revenue just this month from tariffs, and there's a possibility, James, that we may wipe out the federal debt if this trend continues with these tariffs. And then Trump's even thrown this idea out already that we may not even have a tax system. We may not even have to be taxed if this keeps going because we will be out of debt. Wouldn't that be a miraculous miracle of God to see that happen? And again, the left was screaming the sky was going to fall, the sky's falling, when in fact Trump was basically replenishing the Treasury because we were getting screwed over for all these years, and he just leveled the playing field.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. There's still a long, long way to go.
Oh yeah.
Before we return any sort of fiscal responsibility to this country, so that my grandkids are not going to have a debt hole so deep that they will never be able to dig out of. That is another one of these things that has to be reversed, and it needs to start being reversed right now.
Well, I could insult you and tell you that if you're getting a Social Security check at 120, I'd be old enough to be your grandson. But as of now, I'm just old enough to be your son, so I think that'll be enough. But I'm going to take my dear friend to a baseball game soon here. But it's been good stuff tonight. I know there's a lot more in the world. I'm going to let you go though. And listen, I'll get you back on next week. I did want to give you a few minutes here at the end to say whatever you had on your heart tonight. If there was anything, I do want to, before we leave, I sent you an article, and I know we've not really talked about this on the air, but I do want to mention that James Cameron, the director of the Terminator movies back in the 1980s and 90s and 2000s, he put an article out this week, or last week, I sent it to you, that he's concerned that these machines that we've turned our world over to, this artificial intelligence, that he foresees a future that we could literally see what happened in those Terminator movies if we don't bring AI in check. I'll let you wrap us up on this at the end and give us your thoughts, because we did a show on this, and you expressed your deep concern about this stuff here a few months ago. I remember it well, and Did you buy into that article? Do you think there's any truth to that?
Well, there's another article that came out, and it's the former head of Google X,
Okay.
which is this sort of a moonshot, over the horizon technology at Google. What are we going to develop for the future? And he came out with an amazing statement that if the trend lines continue, and of course they're going to grow exponentially, that by 2027, Chris, 2 years out, by 2027, we are looking at a dystopia in this country, an AI-caused dystopia in this country, where there'll be radical changes. And so I wrote an article. Anybody that's interested in reading it, you can go to jamesakers.com. And if you click on the missive section, I wrote an article about AI, whether it is a danger lurking that's going to change everything, or whether it's hype. And there is a lot of diversity of opinion on both sides of that question. And there is a legitimate danger by what's coming out of the labs. On one hand, there's a lot of legitimate concern about where AI is going to lead us to.
Yeah.
On the other, there are several experts, Chris, that are arguing that AI has plateaued. This latest chat box 5 that was released by OpenAI, which was supposed to be the latest and greatest things. There's been a lot of criticism that it actually didn't move things forward that much. And in the article, I argue that there may be a time in the near future where all of these billions of dollars, you have right now, the stock exchange rests basically on the performance of 4 tech stocks, all of them heavily invested in AI, from NVIDIA to Meta. There are 4 of them that are responsible for 26% of the performance of the stock market, and so they have invested billions and billions of dollars in data centers. I read an article today that 10 startups have been awarded to build out nuclear plants by the year 2028. And so why? Because to run these large learning models, you need all of this power.
Yeah, you do.
And we don't have it in the system now. And so the question becomes, after investing billions and billions and billions of dollars in these things, will they ever be able to turn a profit? And right now there are a lot of people batting that question back and forth. If you would listen to the futurists, they're talking about life is going to change completely, and AI is going to take over everything in the next 3 to 4 to 5 years, and everything is going to change. There's certainly a possibility, but there is a growing argument on the other side that this thing will never pay for itself, which is a very interesting argument. I try to present both sides of that in that missive, and I encourage your listeners who may be interested in this topic. It is a fascinating topic.
Well, I think we're going to talk more about it in the weeks to come. And from time to time, just for fun, I'll use a cartoon filter, and I've seen some of the cute things that you can do with it. But I do also see the danger of this, and we're almost talking to machines now. I think I can't remember the company I called the other day, and they literally came on the phone and said, welcome. In fact, it may have been one of the restaurants that there was not even anybody in the window, that you were talking to a computer, and they were going to prepare your meal for you and hand it to you at the window or something along those lines. And I'm trying to remember what company it was. But, I mean, James, we're already there. We're not even talking to human beings now. I mean,
no, you are talking to machines.
Absolutely.
And the breakdown of person to person communications. I just want to talk to a human being.
Well,
I may be a dinosaur, but I happen to think there are a lot of other people that feel exactly the same way.
Well,
I want to talk to a human being.
Let's just put it like this. I just hope God doesn't hold it against me for the way I talk to a machine, okay? I'll just leave it at that, and I'll let people make their own conclusion about that. If God holds it against me for the way I talk to machines, I'm in trouble. And I'm like you, and the way I look at it is bad business. Because if you can get a human being that can solve the problem for you in 5 minutes, what a machine takes a half hour to do, you're going to lose your people. You're going to lose your business and go bankrupt. And that's just the way I look at it. It frustrates me. It does. And
now there is, Chris, one really clear blinking red light area, and it goes to what we talked about at the beginning of this program. The war in the Ukraine has become almost 100% automated war.
Wow!
And the matching of machines to all of these war-fighting systems has evolved much faster than anybody could have ever predicted, and so that is one really dangerous area that those that are interested in AI really need to keep your eye on.
Well, we're going to have a bigger discussion about this later down the road, and I just pray that our hot dogs aren't animated when we have them at the baseball game. That's all I got to say, brother. Listen, I appreciate you, I love you as a friend, and you're just a dear friend, and I really always enjoy our conversations on the show. And I want you to have a good weekend, and I'll see you soon. And thank you for being with me tonight. I want to talk to you next week about Israel, and I want to talk to you about this Tucker Carlson interview with this nun who happens to be the sister. I'll put it like this. I'm not trying to be ugly to George Stephanopoulos, but I got to say it. It's a Thursday night. I got the cowboy hat on, so I haven't got on my soapbox all night. But the Stephanopoulos family, it's just a bunch of ugly folks. I got to say, man. Because when I saw this, I said, if that's his sister, I'd hate to see the rest of the family. And I'm just going to be honest, and I don't mean to be ugly tonight. But I'll talk about that with you next week. How about that, man?
That sounds good.
All right, buddy.
And for all the listeners, all of this stuff about high tech, all the uncertainties with the Trump-Putin meeting that's coming up, the one thing that should not get into your life is a sense of fear.
Thank you, James. Yes.
You turn your life over to Jesus Christ and the object of your faith, the cross of Christ, and then worry sort of takes care of itself.
Couldn't have said it better, buddy. Couldn't have said it better. Save me a seat at the ballpark. We'll see you soon, okay?
Sounds good, Chris. Enjoyed being with you.
Always. God bless, friend. Have a good night. James Akers, everybody. Put some fire in that house farm. What a fantastic job tonight, as always. And we're hoping that you all enjoyed that interview with him. We're not going to keep you much longer tonight. I will take this to you. We were going to do it tonight, but we're sort of I wanted to talk to James. We're not going to be here tomorrow night. My brother and I. Now, I might do a live scope on Facebook tomorrow night to talk about the Russia-America meeting with Putin and Trump. We won't be on YouTube, so You Facebook folks, look for us. I'll probably be doing it from the phone. My brother and I, we're headed to North Georgia tomorrow to pay our respects to our late uncle, Uncle Billy Joe Turnage. He was my mom's brother, and God rest his soul. We're going to go, I have to speak Saturday at the funeral, and been asked to do that, and so we're going to be doing that over the weekend. But we will be with you tomorrow night, probably by phone on Facebook. And if there's a way we can get on live on YouTube, we'll try it. But usually we can't do but one at a time. But we may have a short, brief 15, 20-minute live cast to give you our thoughts about what went down. And then Monday night into next week, we will be back with you. Sheriff Richard Mack is coming next week. Mark White's coming next week. We've got Leslie Milwee coming back next week. We've got Brad Johnson coming back next week. We'll pull James Akers back in again. So we've got a great lineup of guests coming, and so forth. And then Friday night week, as of now, tomorrow night week, we're going to do a McJustice show. We haven't done one in a long time, and we need to. We've got so much to talk about. We could do 4 shows a day and not miss a beat. There's so much to cover. It's one of the reasons we're on radio every day now. KStarTalkRadio.com, 2 to 3 daily, Monday through Friday. Tomorrow is Faith Day. We have been replaying some of our faith shows on Friday, and tomorrow we'll be replaying last night's Wednesday night service. So if you missed Wednesday night service, would like to listen to it, just the audio part, just the preaching part, teaching, join us on the radio. We have a Podbean account, and I have been very derelict in promoting that because we've not been able to produce the audio. Magdalene Rose, our dear goddaughter, who will probably be with us too next week, she has agreed to come on board and help us with some of the social media stuff. And one of the things we're going to start doing is pushing the audio portion of our shows on replay on Podbean, and we'll get that information to you soon as we get into the fall. I want to just thank everybody for being with us tonight and so forth. But we want to thank James Akers. I want to play just a couple of videos for you. I mentioned the individuals at CNN. They are just a pathetic bunch. They really, 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 really are pathetic. This is Scott Jennings. I don't know how he does this. I couldn't do it without going off on these people. And he does it graciously. He's definitely not the Mac Man, because the Mac Man would not be as gracious as this. This is him trying to convince that panel that Trump has been a peacemaker and not a warmonger like Joe Biden.
Is, but the man has solved 6 or 7 conflicts this year. I think we ought to give him some latitude to operate.
Which 6 or 7?
I'm sorry, are you not watching?
Which 6 or 7?
Well, we just did Azerbaijan, we did Rwanda, we did Israel, Iran.
Israel, Iran, what piece deal did I miss?
End of the 12-day war.
I mean, so you 6 or 7. I mean,
are you
that's
living on Earth too?
I mean, no, but Azerbaijan, Rwanda, what? What are we talking about? The fact is, we still have a country a world that's on fire.
Wait a minute. According to you Dems, no, DC's a safe place. This same individual, and I was about to use a very bad word, this same individual would be out there being the first to tell you tonight that Trump sending the National Guard into D.C. is bad. Trump's Batman. For sending the troops and sending the National Guard to D.C., he would be the first one to be on that microphone telling you that Trump's the devil and the dictator for doing it. But he's now telling Scott Jennings, because we're telling the world that Trump's trying to stop these wars. The world's on fire. This is such hypocrisy. This is why CNN has lost all credibility. Herpes is more popular than CNN. I probably got more viewers on a given night than they do. That's saying a lot.
And this is the problem with...
What are you asking me for, Scott?
I'm asking you to come in here and tell people the truth.
That's a stretch, Scott. You're not going to get that. These are liars. These are bold-faced, demonic liars about everything.
Donald Trump has created a track record this year of helping settle several conflicts.
Several is different than 6 or...
And see, this is what they do. There is 7. There is 7 of them. The chick that's running her mouth now is trying to say, well, you're saying several. So how is 6 or 7? Several. This is what they do. They mince words. They strain at gnats to swallow camels. And they're liars.
7. So I was letting Bukhari.
First of all, I will say this.
We did see, Scott, to your point, after naming something after Donald Trump, we saw Azerbaijan, Armenia sit down. That was a remarkable moment. We also
it was a remarkable
was solved with force, but
and it's still not solved. There's still no.
See, and it has been solved. It has been solved. They wouldn't give Trump credit if he cured cancer. They wouldn't give Trump credit if they cured cancer. Here's another one, former Fox host. And Scott was getting a little hot under the collar because Abby Phillips lets this imbecile run her mouth and never checks. They never check people like this. And Scott had enough. I don't see how he does it. McDonald I'd lose all y'all.
Can
I finish?
I want her to solve.
Can I just let her finish?
Well, if she wants to come out here and take pot shots at me, I'm not going to allow it. It's a stupid argument. I'm not going to allow it.
Scott, just let her finish. I don't even know that we've even heard the argument yet.
We heard it.
So go ahead.
Scott, I know you're thirsty for that Senate seat, but let me finish. What I'm going to say.
You allow this every night.
Just give me 1 second here. Let's just let her finish, please.
Okay.
Just 1
Listen. I know you've got the picky thing going on, but here's what I'm going to say.
What are you thirsty for? Some kind of relevance out here?
No, actually, Scott.
I don't know what you do for a living.
Really? I elect a lot of Democrats. Let me finish my thought here, please. Can I just finish what I was about to say?
All righty. That was the CNN panel at their worst. Here is Mike Huckabee tonight. Before I play that, I do want to play this right here. This is another CNN clip. Let me get this out of the way. Scott Jennings today on Gavin Newsom's gerrymandering threat.
Let me summarize Gavin Newsom's speech today. Gerrymandering is evil. Please vote for my gerrymandering. Of course, he failed to mention that it's already gerrymandered. Republicans get 40% of the vote in California. They have 17% of the congressional seats under a supposed independent redistricting commission. So we're going to further gerrymander the gerrymandering.
By that standard, Scott, Texas is also gerrymandered. So
you want to keep going? How about Illinois?
But here's the issue. I would
Illinois is gerrymandered.
No, regular census, the legislature there, gerrymandered Illinois. That's
exactly, David. Exactly. Illinois has been gerrymandered. Massachusetts has been gerrymandered. Texas. You know, the Republicans are fighting back. It's only evil when the Republicans do it. But Illinois, all of these blue states have been gerrymandered. Gavin Newsom's gerrymandered so bad, and he's claiming he's going to do more. He's not going to do more. He's not going to, can't be no worse than what it's been. Newsom's trying to run for president. Newsom couldn't get elected to rat catcher at the Motel 6. And I'll go out on a limb to say that. Here is CNN admitting that Trump is handling the crime situation better than Biden. Roll the tape.
I think this sort of gives the game away here because Donald Trump is like Air Jordan towering over Joe Biden when it comes to their handling of crime. Look, in 2024, look at where Biden's net approval was on crime. Way underwater there at minus 26 points. It was one of Biden's worst issues. Granted, pretty much every issue was one of Biden's worst issues. And again, look at where Donald Trump is. Way, way, way above Joe Biden. What is that? That's 27 points. So Americans vastly prefer Donald Trump's approach to crime than they did to Joe Biden's. And again, I think it gets back to the point that Americans are far more hawkish on crime than a lot of Democrats want to admit.
And that is absolutely correct. We don't want our moms and dads, our brothers, sisters, our wives and husbands being knifed to death and being raped and murdered and stolen from and assaulted and having Subway sandwiches thrown at them. Like this piece of work, language alert, language alert, language alert. Watch the language. I can't cut the language out. So if you're offended by language, just turn the volume down. But this is what happened in D.C. last night. This guy works for the DOJ. Just call him tape. He's been fired tonight, and he's under arrest for doing this.
You see these fascists right here? And our
fascists?
Fuck you! Fuck you, fascists!
That's the DOJ guy right there saying that. Now watch this. Sorry for the language. Sorry for the language.
Back up!
Here it comes. Excuse me. Right there.
Oh!
Fucking gun!
They caught him. They caught him. Sorry for the language. I warned you. But they caught him. But folks, that's out there on the streets. I mean, I can't clean up what's actually going on our streets. That's not a movie. That's not some kind of clip just for the sake of language. That's going on every night. That's what our ICE agents face every day. Our police face every day. It's what the National Guard faces every day. This is what we have become in America. We have become a lawless nation. And our cities have become lawless, and there's no respect. And I hope they throw the book at the guy. I guess I can make a joke about this and say Subway has got a new commercial tonight. Come buy our foot-long meatball sandwich and hit an ICE agent. That'll be the next commercial from the Subway folks, I'm sure. Almost done. We're going to take your questions after this. This is Zoe Marmandami. A couple of words on this you may want to close your ears for. He was not welcome today in New York too well at a local restaurant. Roll tape.
Communist. Sorry, I want something to eat. I would like something to eat. Let me tell you something, man. You are not welcome in this island. October 7th, you hate us. You hate us. Hey, Mr. Mandandy, can I talk to you? This is my island. You're not welcome here. Excuse me. You hate Jews. You hate this country. You hate this island. Big shot for the Tom Homan. Don't go home.
What an arrogant, you know what. I'm not talking about the guy saying it, the Mandami. The guy saying it, I have to agree with him. Mandami hates the Jews. You New Yorkers, please read my lips. I wish I had my meme up. I'll have it when I get home to the North, McDonald North. But listen to me. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth tonight? Mandami hates you in the Jewish community tonight. Now, you don't have to believe that. But he hates the Jewish people. He was raised to hate them. And he does. And if he's elected mayor, you're going to find out the hard way. You're going to find that out the hard way and too late.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Elementary, my dear Watson. A couple more videos here. Interestingly enough, it's amazing. Karen Bass today, speaking of losing your lunch, ICE was arrested. I gotta laugh at this stuff. ICE was arresting people at the Gavin Newsom press conference that were there illegally today. Karen Bass didn't take too kindly to it. Gavin Newsom didn't take too kindly to it. Karen Bass lost her lunch.
Not believe that this just happened to be a coincidence.
There is no way this was a coincidence. This was widely publicized that the governor and many of our other elected officials were having a press conference here to talk about redistricting.
Talk about redistricting. I bet they were.
And they decided they were going to come and thumb their nose in front of the governor's.
Thumb their nose in front of the governor's? Well, can I tell you, Karen, you're thumbing your nose in the rule of law. And the governor's thumbing his nose. He's sticking his middle finger up at the rule of law. Y'all were upset that there were people arresting the illegals. You wasn't upset that these illegals were raping, maiming, killing, murdering, assaulting your citizens.
Why would you do that? That is unbelievably disrespectful.
It's not disrespectful, Karen. It's called upholding the law.
It's a provocative act.
It's not provocative.
They're talking about disorder and...
Disorder? Karen? Do we have to draw this in crayon for you? The state of your city? Your whole city is disorderly. Your whole city is in chaos. Your city burned to the ground almost in January, and you've done jack to fix it. No, the ICE agents are not causing the disorder, Bass. You are, for sitting on your Bass.
Los Angeles, and they are the source of the disorder in
No, they're not.
Los Angeles right now.
No, they're not.
This is just completely unacceptable. This is...
Los Angeles, can I just come to the camera? You Los Angelinos, what in the living world were you thinking putting this woman over your city? What meth were you on?
Administration, this is a Customs and Border Patrol that has gone amok. This absolutely has to stop. There was no danger here.
There was no danger here? Oh, really? By the way, I'll show you what the danger is in a minute.
There was no need to detain anyone here.
Yes, it was.
And there was certainly no need to have a provocative act right here where the governor is having a press conference.
Don't you just love it when these liberals melt down? It's popcorn worthy. It's popcorn worthy. I even brought something to illustrate that. I keep a bag of popcorn right here in front of my computer. And when I see this, I just open the bag and I start eating popcorn. Just like this. And I laugh. And I take my Coke Zero. And I wash it down so I don't choke on the laughter and watch the liberals like this melt down. But anyway, that's Karen Bass. I know you Los Angelinos are just so proud that she's your mayor. I'm sure you are. This is Chuck Schumer on whether D.C. is dangerous tonight. This is another joke.
I walk around all the time. I wake up early in the morning sometimes and take a nice walk as the sun is rising around some of the Capitol and the other monuments and things, and I feel perfectly safe.
It's important to point out that Senator Schumer, like congressional leaders from the Republican Party, also have security details with them full-time while they are here in D.C.
Security detail, but Chuck's safe as can be. I bet you wouldn't be so safe, Chuck, if you didn't have your security detail. I'm just an old South Georgia boy, and common sense would tell me. By the way, folks, the people that ICE took off the street were illegals. I'm not playing this to be melodramatic, but I'm just letting you know what's going on around the country with crime being committed by illegals.
In Rockingham County, deputies have charged an undocumented immigrant with child sex crimes. Miguel Perez was arrested for second-degree forcible rape back on Friday. Investigators say the crime took place at his home in Madison in June. He is being held without bond tonight and is due in court next week.
And another.
And in federal court, an illegal immigrant has been charged with sexually exploiting a 12-year-old. This comes months after he was charged with rape in Hamilton County. Mexican national Victor Juarez is accused of recording himself sexually abusing the girl over a dozen times. Juarez has been held in the Hamilton County Justice Center since February. He's now facing 13 counts of sexual exploitation of children.
So, Miss Bass, I don't even want to call you mayor. Miss Bass, I would like to make a wager with you at how many of those people that ICE, who you claim was causing disorder today in your city, probably took people off the streets that were doing this. And I'm not saying that all rape in this country is committed by illegals, because I'm sure that will come up on Right Wing Watch tomorrow, saying that McDonald's saying that. That is not what I'm saying. Now, what I am saying is that many of these illegals are doing what those two criminal acts that you just heard are doing. You're just not hearing all of it being reported. So, ICE, if you're listening to me, you got a friend here at the McFiles. I support every bit of what you're doing. Keep causing the chaos. Keep arresting these people that do not need to be here in this country and get them out. I have nothing but sympathy for the situation when it comes to these children, but my concern are these kids And I'm going to tell you this tonight, folks. If we don't get this lawlessness under control, you're going to have 1,000 cases like I just played for you just now. So, Miss Bass, I'd like to make a wager with you that how many of those people they arrested today probably have records doing that. Just bad. All righty. By the way, speaking of D.C., this is a cab driver talking about whether he believes Trump should have brought the National Guard in. Good stuff. Roll the tape.
I drove a cab in D.C. I know every inch of the city. To have seen over the years the deterioration of public places, either with graffiti or with people living who are homeless, they say, living on the street. I couldn't be more encouraged by the fact that there are people now that really want to say, stop, let's make this better.
And this is Tom Homan's response to the attacks on ICE.
I don't know what the hell's the matter with everybody up in Congress? People are dying every day. ICE is arresting 3 times as many criminals that the Biden administration did. We're taking public safety threats and national security threats off the street every single day. We got over 600,000 illegal aliens with criminal histories walking the streets of this country. We got less than 5,000 deportation officers. This should be a no-brainer. The more resources we get, if we get this bill passed, we got more agents on the road. We buy more beds, we get more transportation flights. More agents means more bad guys arrested, taken off the streets of this country every single day. Every day we arrest a public safety threat or national security threat. This makes this country much safer. Who the hell would be against that? And I get irritated, I get pissed off because I'm sick of meeting angel moms and dads. You want to talk about family separation? They bury their children. So I've done this since 1984. I've worked for 6 different presidents. No one has had the success of the Trump administration. We got the most secure border in the history of this nation today. But we need more border wall. Border walls save lives. Women and children can't get over that wall, which means they go to a place where there's not a wall. And what's waiting on them? The men and women of the Border Patrol who take care of the humanitarian needs and save their lives. We already got fentanyl seizures down half. Fentanyl seizures should be 100%. We should have 0 fentanyl coming to this country. We need money to help secure that border at a higher level. Stop the fentanyl from coming in. Stop the sex trafficking of women and children. Stop the known inspected terrorists coming across that border. Right now, I was looking at the stats today. ICE is arresting a record number of known suspected terrorists in this country along with the FBI. With more money, we can arrest more of these people and make this country safer. This is a nonpartisan issue. Let's make this country safe again. So to the Democrats and the Republicans and the Independents, I don't care who you're from, pass the bill so we can make this country safe, so we can stop the violence against ICE officers. Let's make this country safe again. And without that bill, it's going to be a hard road. We got a lot of people to look for, a lot of people to arrest, a lot of national security threats we know are in this country. We need to find them. We need more money to do that. We need more agents to do that. For God's sake, let's pass this bill and get this done.
80,000 ICE agents basically applied to the job. Way to go,
he got so angry he didn't even shake my hand or look at me.
That's the best border HR we've ever had. And he is angry, folks. Those people behind him, by the way, are angel moms and dads. You say, what are angel mom and dads? Those are people who have lost loved ones to illegal aliens. And we've had several angel moms and dads on this program. Dan Glovac comes to mind. Others, Maria Espinosa, Ruth Martin, a lot of people that have lost people and loved ones to illegal aliens, whether it be drunk driving. Wendy Cochran, our dear friends in Knoxville, their son got killed by a drunk driver. And the list can go on. So, by the way, this is what happened today, just today. I'm almost done, I promise. Federal building, they found a suspicious powder near an ICE facility, and that is the hazmat people trying to figure out what in the world was going on. We don't know exactly the details of this, but they evacuated the building, And we're going to get details on this later. Nick Sorto was reporting this afternoon and evening. We'll find out more about this and have details for you over the weekend or next week if there was anything to that. It may have been just a false alarm. One final thing. This is the a X account. I'm not sure. Give a heads up just in case he uses a language or two here. I think that overall he's okay. New Mexico's governor, she's a Democrat. She's declared a state of emergency tonight, folks. You know why she's declared a state of emergency in her state? Fentanyl and crime. It's elementary, my dear Watson. It's just plain elementary.
We got some breaking news coming in from the Democratic governor of New Mexico. That only after 2 days, that what she has now witnessed over in Washington, she has now declared a state of emergency and wants the same treatment over for her state and requesting now to send the National Guard in. This governor now is coming out and waving the white flag and saying because of the increase of all this criminal activity, that families are becoming unstable, women and children are overdosing on fentanyl, and homelessness is beyond repair, and it's rising to a level of expectation that they never saw. And even with the increase of the police in their community, that they can't stop the drugs pouring in, and that the overdose rate is absolutely through the roof, as many, many people are losing their lives. Now I'm going to tell to the governor that we are very forgiving people, and we don't hold grudges over here at the Republican Party. And let me be the very first one to say of how proud I am of you, that you are actually putting the safety of your people
over
first
your party. Thank you.
For the disagreements and maybe the frustration with the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. What this governor is saying, and the message that I always preach, is that humanity will always come before politics. We don't ask who you are or where you're from. We just ask you, are you a mommy? Are you a daddy? Are you a child? Are you hurting? What can we do to help? And the clear message that this governor is putting out is that my people will come first. And we denounce anybody from the Democratic Party putting the hatred for Donald Trump first before the safety of their own people. Governor, don't you worry. But it's not only New Mexico that needs help. It's also Philadelphia. It's also Chicago. It's also Los Angeles and New York. Every Democratic city that has been run in turmoil over, including Colorado over there, we're coming to help. And to every other citizen in the United States of America, if you think that your city, your state needs help, drop it down in the comments, and I'll make sure the first one.
There ain't no comments to drop it down. He's talking about his show. Don't drop him in mine. But that gentleman was square on, and we'll have more details about that Monday. I want to announce Monday, we're going to be doing something Monday. And I've got a video that Tucker Carlson has put out. And I want to just go on record tonight, folks. I don't know what's happened to Tucker Carlson. Short of him just being full of the devil, I don't know what's happened to Candace Owen other than her just becoming full of the devil. He interviewed this nun over the last few days that she supposedly was witnessing the treatment of Christians in Gaza. And we're going to turn our attention to Israel Monday night. And we got some other video we didn't play tonight. But I just want to show you the subjects of this video and the difficult life of a Christian, Israel's apartheid system. Are we being lied to about the relationship between Muslims and Christians in the Middle East? Why is Israel's Christians population declining? Why are American Christians supporting Israeli persecution of Christians? We're not. Israel stealing of Christian land, Christians being killed at the Holy Land, the 2002 Israel siege on the church. How many Christians in the Holy Land support the government of Israel? What is the purpose of Hamas, the mission of the greater Israel? Mother Agape details Christian persecution at the hands of Israel. Are Christians treated better in other Arab countries? They're not. What corporate media won't tell you about the Palestinians, what will happen to Gaza, the bombing of Christian churches is not an accident, the Temple Mount and Christian Zionists, and Mother Agape's message to Christians. By the way, folks, this is George Stephanopoulos' sister. This is not some isolated case.
They are the case.
There he is, right there.
Is every person who works at a desk doomed to get a neck hump? Not if you do this thing.
Canaanite descendants. Yes. They have people that have been there for centuries. Not all, or the greater part, not just Palestine included, Syria and Lebanon at a different time under different empires and things. So, yeah, they're the first Christians, the Christians at the time of Christ. And it's very difficult to practice their faith.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. I don't even want to give it air. We're going to look at some of the excerpts of that. I'm going to chew on it. Monday night, we're going to look at it more specifically. That's one ugly nun. I don't mean that to be mean. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Oh, Lord, help me. Please help me.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. Where are you, Jenny Castellanova? Oh, Lord have mercy.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
But anyway, where's that popcorn where I needed it? That's just one ugly nun. But what's uglier? Not that she's George Stephanopoulos' sister. She's lying. She's lying. Tucker Carlson gave her a platform to lie. To flat out, bold-faced lie. So, we're going to counteract that. I try to, at least. And I guess we'll see where we go from there. Folks, if there is any Christian persecution in Israel, it is very minor compared to the hatred, the outright hatred of Jewish people around this globe by the Arab world and the world at large. There may be an isolated case from time to time, and the media blows this up. Christian media blows it up. But the government is not opposed to Christianity in Israel. Now, you may disagree with that vehemently and scream into your camera and say, oh, yes, it is. Well, scream. I'll stand by my guns. I think most reasonably thinking Jewish people, and we've had several on this program, they understand the greatest friend that the Jewish people have right now. I'll put it like this. The greatest friend that the Jewish people should have right now are Christian believers in Jesus. They may not agree with our theology. We don't agree with theirs. They don't believe Jesus is their Messiah. But folks, there's a whole world out there that don't believe Jesus is the Savior. We don't hurl insults at the Muslims like this. We don't hurl hate speech to Buddhists and Shintoists and atheists. I don't see people calling for boycott of atheist businesses or boycotts of Buddhist businesses. I don't see people using slur terms and calling the Muslim community colonizers and apartheid people. No, I don't hear any of that. No, it's just Jews. So, we're going to talk about this Monday night. Bring your asbestos suit. It ain't going to be pretty. Tucker Carlson should be ashamed of himself, but he's not. Candace Owens should be ashamed of herself. She's unraveling right before our eyes. This anti-Semitism is eating her alive. This anti-Semitism with Tucker is eating him alive. They're trying so hard to prove that the only evil in this world are the Jewish people. I got a clip. Can you give me 3 minutes? Can you give me just 3 more minutes? I want to play this one clip by Mike Huckabee. He was talking to Piers Morgan today about this. Roll tape.
There's one bad guy in all this, and it's Hamas. And that's what I've said repeatedly. I've watched European countries put so much pressure on Israel because they don't like the way they're prosecuting the war. Whether people like the way they're prosecuting the war, it is their war. They dumped an enormous amount of humanitarian aid and food in prior to the blockade. There would have been more than enough to feed them throughout the blockade. But the problem was that Hamas was stealing the food. One of the reasons that Israel stopped the just almost unlimited supply of food going in was because Hamas was profiting off of it. They made $500 million last year selling it. And one of the things that was so outrageous was because they would steal the food. By the UN's own numbers, about 88 to 89% of the food going in has been stolen or looted. So that means that the people weren't getting the food, and I'll tell you who else wasn't getting the food. The hostages. I know you saw the video of the hostages a week ago when Hamas posted this hideous, disgusting video of hostages being tortured, being starved, and being forced to dig their own graves. They're not getting any of that food. So the problem has come that all the pressure from European countries and even Canada has been focused on Israel rather than focused on Hamas. And what I said in the tweet, and I know you didn't like it that much, but I was having a little fun with it. The point being, the Arab League unanimously said it's Hamas that ought to disarm. It's Hamas that ought to give up and recognize that they have no future, and they need to let all of the hostages go, not dribbling out. They need to let them all go at one time.
I just love it when Piers Morgan is sitting there stone-faced cold without nothing to say. It does my heart good. It does my heart good. Makes me want to eat popcorn when I see a liberal stone-faced just like that. Boy, some good popcorn. All right, I'm done. I'm done tonight. Did you get something out of the show? There's more to that. We'll play Monday night. Did you get something out of that show? Put some fire in that house for me. And we are grateful. We are grateful for you being with us on a Thursday night McFiles. Now, folks, we won't be with you here tomorrow night on YouTube. We're going to be following this thing tomorrow with Trump and Putin. We'll be on Facebook through Facebook Live, but we'll be on location tomorrow night. We won't have the computer. It'll strictly be by phone. So join us for that. We'll give you some thoughts. But Monday night, we'll pick this back up. And I'm going to address the Israel situation head on again. We've addressed it before. And I'm doing it in hopes that things will calm down and people will come to their senses. But it's just the opposite. People are going full-blown anti-Semitic. Christians are going full-blown anti-Semitic. Not good. It's not good. And a lot of it's because of nothing but lies. Anyway. Jason Rankin is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you, buddy. If you got something out of the show, put some fire. Good to see Mark Kaysen. Good to see everybody on YouTube tonight. Have a good crowd over there. And good crowd on Facebook. Jason wants me to keep going. Jason, we'll definitely do a late night very soon, buddy. It's good to see you tonight. You got 5 minutes, folks, max. 5 minutes, max. If you got a question, you got anything you got to say, say it. Got anything you got to say tonight, say it. Good to see Pat and Deb Dolan. Jason, good to see y'all tonight. I like these late nights too.
Should not.
And good to see you. Jeannie Castellanova says, when someone goes anti-Semitic, they lose moral clarity and backbone. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. Roger Hooker says LA elected a Marxist. Now New York City is going to elect a Marxist. Possibly. Dennis says, I can't see this country is split down the middle. I see it as 80 to 20 or even 70-30, 30 for the Dems. Dennis, I think it's 50-50. It's maybe 60-40. We're center-right. I don't think we're center-left. I think it was going that direction. But I think a lot of these independents have seen what Trump has done, and I think they're coming along. I will say this. On some of these issues, I'm with you 1,000,000%. The far left is camping out on these 80-20 issues where the country's nowhere to be found, such as women in sports. This hideous display in Minnesota where they're putting male cheerleaders in girl outfits and having them cheer. And folks, there are male cheerleaders in college, but those guys are dressed in pants and shirts, and they look like men. And I had a classmate of mine that one of his relatives was a male cheerleader, and he told me, he said, these guys lift weights and they train. This is not some easy task because they're called upon to hold the cheerleaders up. They're called to do a lot of serious physical activity. It's not a joke in college. But what the NFL's doing is completely perverse. It's perverse. The country's not on board with that. The country's not on board with illegals raping 12-year-olds and illegals raping 5-year-olds and filming it while they're doing it. We're not on board with people ramshacking businesses and, again, assaulting people, stealing. It's like Bianca said Tuesday night. I mean, even the Department of Defense, Kristi Noem, folks, was not the defense, but the Department of Homeland Security Chief, Kristi Noem, had her purse stolen at a D.C. restaurant. I mean, for goodness sake, that's an 80-20 issue when it comes to crime. And I salute the governor of New Mexico tonight. The gentleman was right. Probably me and her wouldn't agree on one thing politically. But one thing I do respect her for, she put her people over her party, and she put her people and set aside her Trump hatred to tell President Trump, I need the National Guard in my cities because we can't control it. My brother used to live in Albuquerque. He used to be stationed there at the Air Force Base there. And it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the country. Beautiful. But it's lawless. And she's asking for help. Smart lady. Smart lady. And Pat and Deb, good to see you tonight. I don't understand Tucker either. Joey, you says, do you think people are coming out of apathy? Joey, I'm not sure about that. I think some are. Some are. I just think there's a lot of people in our country, Joey, don't care. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. All righty, listen. Pat and Deb, I don't know what's happened to Tucker either. But anyway, folks, we got to get out of here. We've gone an hour and 30. Listen, we'll be back. Enjoy your night off tomorrow night on YouTube. We'll see you over on Facebook. And we may have a late night show over there. We'll take your questions over there and let you rant and rave, just whatever you want to do. Because usually on the phone, all I do is just take questions and run my mouth. So we'll have a good time late night tomorrow night. My brother will be with me. We might even pull him in. You talking about a card if you think I'm nuts. If you think I'm a little lit, wait till you get a load of the younger McDonald. Oh man, I'll see if he's willing to come on the camera tomorrow night. That I don't know if I'll lose. I may not have a show Monday night if I let him come on. But anyway, it is elementary, my dear Watson, that we love you all tonight, and we thank you for being with us on a McFile Thursday night. I will be here in the morning for the Faith Students Bible study. That'll be our final show on YouTube until Sunday morning and Sunday night. Listen, God bless you. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. Pray for President Trump tomorrow, folks, in this meeting with Putin. A lot hangs in the balance. I'm wishing him the best. I don't have a feel tonight what's going to happen tomorrow, but I wish him the best because he's trying his best to stop the killing of people to the tune of almost 2 or 3 million people. It's unreal. Who has died? How many have died in that situation? All righty. Listen, take care of yourselves out there. Have a great night. I will see you back here Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, right here on the McFiles News Network, and then we'll be on Facebook tomorrow night late. God bless you. Have a good night.